Let's take a look at the day one partner variables activity. Whenever you get new code, it's a great idea as a media artist or a computer scientist to read through the code, see what looks familiar, and try to imagine what it will do before you hit run. On line 2, I see that there are 4 variables declared: person, team, age, and color. This is another way you can declare variables by separating them by a comma. And there's also another one here called EastView. In the function setup, we're setting these variables to starting values. Person is set to the string EastView, it's in quotes. Age is set to 98. Color is set to a string orange, it's a string because it's in quotes. And then team is set to EastView, but it's different from this EastView. This EastView is not in quotes, so it's a variable. So this is interesting. We have team, which is a variable, and it's set to another variable called EastView. We'll look back at that in a bit. Let's see where we're using these to help make sense of it. So if we look down on line 29, we have a text function. It's going to print out text on the screen. And remember, the first argument is what it will display. So this is going to display the string my name is plus the variable person. And person is EastView. So it's going to say my name is EastView. Now, this plus sign, we're not actually adding, right? Because person is a string, bunch of letters, and this is a string here. So what we're doing is actually joining. We're going to join and smush these two things together. In Scratch, it was a green block, join. Then on line 30, we have another text, and it's joining the string age, colon space, with the variable age. And this one does have a number, but you can't add a number and a bunch of letters like age. It's just going to smush them together, so it's going to join them. These other numbers that you're seeing after, what it's going to print out, this is the X and the Y. So it's just where is this text going to be on the screen. Take a look at line 31. It's pretty cool. We're using another text, and we're joining birth year, but then we have this parentheses where we're actually doing some math. So remember, age is set to 98. 98 is a number. So if we take the year and then subtract the age, we should get the birth year. Now, it's not going to be exact, but this is just to show you that you can do math with variables. Okay, so far it's going to say my name is EastView, my age is 98, the birth year will do the math for us, we don't have to do that ourselves. Finally, on line 32, we have an image function call. This is going to put a picture on the screen. If you haven't used it yet, image takes a variable that's storing the picture, the X location, and the Y location. Now you only need these 3, but I always add these last 2. What do you think these 2 numbers control? So this one is the width, how wide it is, and this is how tall it is, the height of the image. Okay, and team, if we go back up, is set to EastView. Okay, let's click run and see what it looks like, and then we'll tackle this EastView variable. Okay, so look up here. The background color is set to color, and color was orange. So that's why the background is orange. And then we have my name is EastView, the age is 98, and the birth year is 1924. So let's slide up. We have EastView declared here, and the value is not set in here. It's set in this thing, a function preload. There's the EastView and the equal sign. Basically, function preload lets you load up an image before everything runs, before setup and before draw. Images are huge and they take a little bit longer than text to load. So if you don't use a function preload, and let's say I take this line 6 and put it inside function setup, sometimes you might not see the image because it might take too long to load and then everything else happens, and so you just don't see it. So if you don't want that to happen, write a function preload before your function setup. And then what you do is you write the name of your variable, and then you use the load image function. And this will load the image before the setup even runs. So load image, then you put the parentheses, and inside there, I see quotes, so I have a string, and this is the name of the file. So if I open this back up, the first thing says images, and then there's like a backslash. That's this. There's a folder on the left called images. And inside are different file names. Let me just expand this so you can see it all. So we have Albany.png, Cortland.png, Eastview.jpg, Geneseo.png, Purchase.png, and Stonybrook.png. I found PNGs for all the logos so they have transparent backgrounds, but I couldn't find one for Eastview, so it's just a JPEG. Those aren't transparent. So notice that my sketch.js, I wrote eastview.jpg. That's the exact same name as this file over here. So now let's make another one for the team that you're on. Decide which one, you or your partner. This is a pair programming activity, so one person's going to be typing. So decide which team you'll do. I'm just going to do Albany because it's first. So the first thing I have to do is declare a variable. I just put a comma and wrote the name of my variable. It's just like a little, makes it shorter up top and easier to read. Then inside the function preload, I'm going to put my cursor after line 6. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to write the name of the variable Albany I just created. And now I want to set Albany equal to that image. So I'm going to have to use this load image function. I'm going to load up all the data. Load image. Make sure that I is capitalized. And then I'll put parentheses. So make sure you're writing along with me. So far you've written the name of the variable that you created for your team name. And then inside the function preload, you wrote that variable again. We wrote an equal sign, and then we wrote the load image function, making sure that I is capitalized. And then we put parentheses. So inside the parentheses, we're going to have to put quotes. You could do single or double. And then we're going to write, since all the images are inside that images folder, we write the word images because that's the name of this folder on the left. After the word images, do the backslash, which is on the same key as the question mark on your keyboard. And then write the name of the file. Make sure you spell it correctly, exactly where it's written on the side. Oops. And don't forget the correct file extension. Okay, so I have my variable, and inside the function preload, I've set the variable, I've loaded it up with that file. Let's go ahead and start to change these values. So person, write your name, then put your age in. Whoops. You could write here your favorite color. Now, if you want to know what the colors that you could use, there's a link in Schoology. You could also Google web color names. And this one from W3 Schools is really good. So you could type any of these names and they'll pop up, like dark orchid. I'll try that one. You just have to make sure you spell it correctly. Dark orchid. Actually, doesn't matter if things are capitalized. And now for team, I don't want to say Eastview because Eastview has this image of Eastview in it, right? Let me just close this so we can see this better. I want to put Albany. I'm pretending I'm on Team Albany. So where it says team, I'm actually going to set it to Albany, which is holding my image. And now let's hit run. Da-ding. Oh, and it has my correct birth year and everything. Okay. So if you've gotten that to work, here's your challenge. At the bottom, I have a function mouse pressed. And last time we learned that you could put variables in here, like let's say the person variable, and you could set it equal to something else. I'll put Dana in a string. So now if I tap it, it changes the name to Dana. Can you change all of this information? Can you change the color, the age, and the logo so that when you press it, when you run it, you see one person, and then when you tap the screen, you see your partner's information? Go ahead.